Welcome to Effective Test Readiness with an emphasis on knowing the test. In the next few minutes, we're going to take a closer look at teaching test readiness, specifically the importance of knowing the test itself, its format, the kinds of questions that will be asked, and where to spend the most time for the most credit in order to achieve maximal test-taking success. As we at Kaplan have said time and again, our decades of experience and unparalleled reputation for driving student achievement on tests have yielded the same conclusions as contemporary education researchers, that three things are critical drivers of student success on tests. Students need to know the content, they need to know the test, and they need to know the test-taking strategies required by a given test. No one of these three things stands alone. All are critical for students to maximize their potential on standardized tests. In this session, we'll be looking at the critical middle part of the pyramid, knowing the test. How do we help students get to know the test itself as part of a test readiness curricula? Three simple ways: eliminate uncertainty, make practice demanding, and provide accessible examples. But first, let's start with a quick exercise. I'm thinking of a number. What is it? Is it 8? 579? How about 64? Maybe 4004? As you've noticed, it's impossible to do anything other than mere guessing with a question like this, because it's not clear what it actually is that I want. So let's try again. This time, I can tell you that I'm thinking of a number between 5 and 35 that's prime and a factor of 93. What is it? Of course, now you can tell me without much time to think that the answer is 31. And that's simply because I gave you some clear parameters to help you think about the question. For many students, the test feels arbitrary and unfair, much like the first version of this question. But by helping students to know the test and helping them to master the parameters within which the test is created, you can help them to find the right answers. They need to know what to expect when they take the test. By ensuring that students know the test, you're helping to eliminate uncertainty about what the test will contain. On test day, this has immense value. It reduces student anxiety. We've probably all seen students panic and fail on test day, and it's nothing short of tragic. It saves students valuable test-taking time. So much time is wasted on tests, reading directions. Students need their test-taking time to answer questions. That's it. Anything else is a waste of their time. We need to teach them the directions in advance. And it encourages students to use test-taking strategies in appropriate ways. Students are more likely to use the appropriate math strategy, for example, if they can identify what type of math problem they're looking at. So if we can teach students to recognize the types of questions they'll get on the test, we can teach them how to choose which strategy to use. The second critical way to ensure that students know the test is to make practice demanding. In practicing for the test, students should experience higher demand than the test itself. And there are 5 straightforward ways to make practice demanding for students. This old adage, perfect practice makes perfect, is still true today. If students practice wrong, they learn wrong. Frequent checks during practice time prevent such misconceptions from taking hold of students and also help teachers know when to push students more. Second, ask students to do more than answer multiple choice questions or recall pure facts from passages. The test itself is likely to expect more of them, and you should too. Next, you need to vary the type of practice students receive. If your students are getting ready for a test in which they have to answer 50 multiple choice questions in 60 minutes, you could give them 50 multiple choice questions to practice in 60 minutes every day. And while you should replicate the exact test conditions enough times that students aren't made anxious by the number of questions, the length of the test, or the quiet of the room, you shouldn't do the same thing every day. Another way to provide demanding practice is to require students to apply their knowledge and skills in new situations every day. For example, if students need to know vocabulary words for their test, they need to have had opportunities to use the words to write definitions, complete sentences, identify opposites, describe film characters, locate synonyms, and grade one another's work. They need to have used the word naturally enough in different contexts so that they can use it in any context. And this applies to skills and knowledge across subjects. Last, the best thing you can do to make practice demanding is to give students specific, actionable feedback on their work. They need to be coached to test readiness, told their strengths and areas for growth so that they can make the most of every learning experience. Finally, test readiness sessions that help students know the test give students access to what success looks like. It's not about practicing only, but about learning from examples. In fact, research indicates that this is one of the very best ways to help students understand what is expected of them on a test. In this example, the student work sample is broken down and analyzed to help students make sense of it. And students do the work of evaluating the efficacy of the example themselves. From sample essays to sample math problems to sample notes on a short passage, accessible examples go a long way toward promoting student learning. It's incredibly difficult for students to succeed on a test without a working knowledge of its format, content, and expectations. Students who regularly underperform are particularly hindered by these barriers, while star performers often miss the opportunity to truly shine because of things that should be minor, like poor self-regulation on timed tests. Obviously, knowing the test alone won't guarantee student success on test day. However, there's no reason for simple misunderstandings about test format, content, or timing to hold students back from showing their true abilities. Please take the time to watch our other on-demand modules, which cover the importance of knowing the content and knowing the strategies for test readiness. Thanks so much for listening.